Well. Interesting stuff has happened in the bubble so far. Um, the least expected team that is dominating would be the Heat. And I gotta say, I'm a bit surprised. And who would have thought that, the Bucks would be exposed in the semis instead of the Eastern Conference Finals? Not me. Not me whatsoever. Yeah, now, with the semis on the way right now, things gotten a little bit interesting right now. It seems like, I placed some casino bets so far in regards to, the Bucks and the Heat. Originally thought the Bucks would win in 6. Who would have thought? Heat in 4.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Seems like. But, it's, how you say it right now? It's a make or miss league right now so far. And, without further ado, I think in those first series, what I'll talk about is, Lakers versus the Rockets. And, this is the semis that is the most intriguing to me so far because I feel like, the Rockets team is like the most interesting, team you can put against the Lakers because, in my opinion, the Rockets are like a bad matchup for the Lakers in a way where, these guys are going full out all analytics and, they're playing like all out, all in, chips in. We're going mathematics on this, on this basketball activity stuff. And then you got, naysayers who are saying, Anthony Davis is going to average 50 on these guys, on PJ Tucker. And, that was never the case, in my opinion. Like, for me, Anthony Davis has always been, he's not this kind of post heavy, big. He's more of like a perimeter centric big where this dude loves ISO, and do fadeaways and stuff. Like, he wants to pretend he's like a guard, Anthony Davis grew up playing a guard and then he grew, 7 inches and now he's like almost 7 foot, right? Basically that. And, you see it in his play. Like, that's why Anthony Davis is so skillful on the perimeter. He can handle the ball. He can shoot the 3, shoot the mid range. He can do a lot of things offensively, a lot of guard play in his play style. And, the Lakers right now are pretty struggling when it comes to the 3-point line. While in regards to the Rockets, right, where they just shoot a bunch of threes, like they don't care, right? That's basically shoot a 3 or lay it up. And
change the game.
Execution. That was a good job of executing.
Down the stretch, you and Serge seem to be in a really great rhythm. What allowed you guys to be so successful?
Did a good job execution.
And, that volatile play can work or it can really hurt them. I mean, it really hurt them in the OKC, playoff series where I thought that the Rockets should have beat them in 6. But, they beat them in 7. And, James Harden had that disappearing act where I thought to myself, dude, it's been 8 minutes since James Harden's been in the 4th quarter. The only thing he did was a layup, right? Previously to that block he had on Dort, the only thing he did offensively was a layup. He just kept on passing and deferring, and he was 4 for 15. Russell Westbrook was pretty bad too. I mean, I'm like, dude, you guys are lucky that Covington and Eric Gordon bailed you guys out, right? And even just, seeing their last possession, like they really squeaked by OKC. Like, this shows that Billy Donovan is so trash, man. And the decision to have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, inbound, and he didn't really know what to do because this is his first playoff series. And pressure comes down to the down to the wire, and he I guess he hit the wrong pass, and it was all she wrote from there. But I mean, just by going back to that Covington play, right? When Covington got the inbound, he should have just shot the ball. Like, why even take the chance of, making the free throws when it's like a down to a one possession game? And all he had to do was get the inbound, then do a fadeaway and just shoot up in the air. Like, it doesn't matter the outcome. You just burn the time and you win, basically. And he didn't do it. And he went to the free throw line. He missed one of them. That was some choke city stuff. So the Rockets got squeaked by, but just by judging this round now, right, where you have Harden drop like 36, I think, it was like above 35, and you got these dudes came to play. Like, first of all, you can't have the same rebounding total as the Rockets, right? Like, the Rockets, PJ Tucker is like what, 6'8", 6'8", 6'7", like that sort. And Lakers have all these bigs so far, and they can't out rebound the Rockets. Like, that's a problem right there. Like, this Rocket team has a great chance of making the playoffs, the finals. Like, they're that volatile where they either implode or they shine bright and burn a hole through the other team, basically, with their 3-point barrage. And that's basically the case. Like, they're going all out. Can the other team keep up or lock them down? Like, who knows? Like, we'll see. But my prediction so far is Lakers in 7. Originally, I thought Lakers in 5, because this Rockets team is pretty weak in the sense that they're not really, when the pressure's on the line, these dudes choke. And maybe it's due to pressure of facing the jitters of facing OKC, Russell Westbrook facing his former team. Maybe it's jitters from freaking Harden, where he's facing CP3. He's the reason why CP3 got bounced out to Houston. It's a lot of pressure going on, and who knows what's gonna happen so far. But the Rock is a really bad matchup. You put Anthony Davis, you put Dwight Howard in, you put JaVale. Good. Rockets just outrun them, right? They have Westbrook taking the fast break, Eric Gordon driving it in every single possession. James Harden drive it in. It doesn't really matter. Like, they have Austin Rivers. Like, a lot of people are penetrating the paint right now. Lakers just showing no perimeter-centric defense whatsoever. When they have all their guards penetrating the paint, and then when Anthony Davis comes in, like, pass out, like, or they continue to attack it, like, with floaters and stuff. Like, Eric Gordon's going in. James Harden, Westbrook, like, just on the base of that, like, this is where it becomes really interesting. Like the Rockets would rather play the Lakers than the Clippers, because the Clippers are just built to stop the Rockets, right? Well, the Lakers, like, who they got besides LeBron and Anthony Davis? And when you give to Anthony Davis, just double team him, like what they've done. Basically, have him pass up. I mean, there's just the one play where they double Anthony Davis and Eric Gordon just stripped him. Like, and there's that. Like, come on, man. You got to show some more heart than that. Like, you got, like, players, like, 3 to 4 inches shorter than you, and you can't do anything whatsoever. Like, come on. Come on. But, the Lakers side, they have LeBron James, and we'll see what LeBron does. I mean, it's pretty disappointing to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis struggle in the fourth quarter. Even though you can make a case that the Rockets, switching defense, it is the number one efficient defense so far in the bubble, and they're pretty elite right now. So they have Westbrook, Harden playing pretty good in the paint when it comes to defense. Covington's always been solid. Eric Gordon all of a sudden has looked great on defense. Like this Rocket team. Give him credit where credit's due. And it looks like trouble for the Lakers so far. But once game 2 happens, which is I think it's today, as we can record on Sunday, we'll see the better case so far of what's going to happen. And we'll see how they adjust. I mean, Rondo looked terrible. I mean, for everyone who said that playoff Rondo's would come, playoff Rondo that showed up was 3 years ago against the Portland team, and he had Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis balling out, so it made his job way easier. But this Rondo is coming from injury. His footwork, he's just slipping left and right and stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous so far. Some of the Lakers shooting droughts get kind of cringy sometimes. You have Danny Green, you have Casey Poop, Kuzma shooting these bricks. I'm what is going on here? You might as well just keep on driving in because that's where the Rockets were struggling. It's okay, see there, you have Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander driving in, and they couldn't really do much. PJ Tucker's not really that kind of contending big. Obviously, he's a short, power forward. So, take advantage of that. I mean, from what I've seen, LeBron James should have a great series right now. I mean, these dudes can't guard LeBron James, but Eric Gordon is doing pretty good on LeBron James. So this is probably the most interesting semi so far. I mean, you would think, right? It'd be the most interesting compared to the others. I mean, who would have known that the Heat would be 3 up against the Bucks and they're about to sweep them today? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that the Celtics should have been up 3-0 as well against the Raptors, but now they're 2-2. So momentum is back for the Raptors, and it's gonna be wild so far. Clippers and Nuggets. I'll probably talk about that later. Clippers are 1-1 right now. So overall, I still think the Lakers should come out top, but this is the team that they probably didn't want to face because this team doesn't really care when it comes to your play style. You play big, good. You're okay, fine, and we free corner threes for PJ Tucker, free threes and stuff. You want to get the rebound, go for it. We'll get the rebound and just pass it down fast break. You better keep up, old man, because the Lakers are the oldest team, I believe, their average age, and let's see them Rockets wear them out, and it's off to the races. But so far from what I've seen, Lakers at 7. I could be wrong, but the Rockets do have the highest chance of upsetting the Lakers. I'm not saying chance to beat them, but they have the highest chance of upsetting in regards to compared to Portland or OKC. They are the team that they're the team that holds destiny in their hands so far. So we'll see. Now, for the Clippers, going against the Nuggets, I never really feared the Nuggets so far. I mean, just by watching them play, I mean they got pretty hot in regards to game 2, and Kawhi had a pretty off night. Like, he was pretty out. And PG was the one that was like, I think he's the league scorer. So, I expect to bounce back from Kawhi. But, my first prediction is, Clippers in 5. Like, I just don't fear this Nuggets team. Like, they're struggling against, a weak Utah Jazz team in the sense where, their second best player, Bogdanovich was out. And, Mike Conley's been struggling all season. All of a sudden he gets in the bubble, heats up, and, Donovan Mitchell's averaging 38 points on 50, 90, super efficient, right? And, the Nuggets were having trouble guarding that, just their main player, Donovan Mitchell. And, he's fast forward to the series now. Kawhi Leonard's way better than Donovan Mitchell. And, this whole Clippers team built on depth and, defense and stuff. You would think he'll make quick work of the Nuggets. And so far, the series is tied 1-1, but I just, like I said, I don't fear the Nuggets. I mean, they're just too balanced when it comes to offense. They don't really have a go-to scorer. I mean, right now they're trying to put that's onus on the hands of Jamal Murray, but I just don't see Jamal Murray becoming that player. And so far, I mean, he's been doing pretty good. They don't really have anyone to really guard Jokic. Just by watching how they defend Jokic, he's once you double Jokic, he finds the open man. He is the best passing big, so it's very hard to double him. And he'll find the right guy, whether it's Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, Torrey Craig, Jeremy Grant, whether it's them, he'll find them. And the Clippers got to step it up right now. Kawhi, he's due for an off night once in a while, but I expect to bounce back. He's super consistent when it comes to offense. And who's really guarding Kawhi? I mean, you got Jeremy Grant guarding him, and Torrey Craig. Who's really there? I mean, he straight up dominated the Nuggets in the first game. They blew them out. So I expect the same case scenario, 3-5, and maybe it's due to the curse of Charles Barkley guaranteeing the sweep, right? I don't think the Clippers would have swept this team. I mean, best case scenario, they should sweep this team because that's not the best case scenario that Paul George actually comes out to play. But Paul George is too volatile of a player right now to give that kind of guarantee. And the Clippers right now they're still getting chemistry down, right? They're still getting chemistry down. I don't understand how Doc Rivers is always playing random lineups with having Lou Will not even play with Montrezl Harrell, and then he does put him back, and you see their chemistry dramatically improve. I'm like, what is Doc? He's experimenting too much, probably because all the injuries they dealt with, but at the same time, it's might as well keep it consistent, right? With Patrick Beverley coming back in, he's getting his conditioning back. So, we'll see what happens, in game 3, where Kawhi Leonard's probably go for 30. I don't really expect Paul George to go for 22 again. And that kind of sad. Paul George not going for 22. Maybe I'll give him 16 or whatever. I don't know, but someone's gonna have to pick it up for them to blow him out. But it is what it is right now for Paul George. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the case. But I mean, let's go by the Nuggets. The Nuggets are really struggling from shooting. The Nuggets are basically a regular season team where they always do good in the regular season, top 5 in defense, right? They're top 5 in defense, or like top 5 in like 3-point percentages. Like that's all fine and dandy, right? But when it comes down crunch time playoffs, like so far they're struggling. Might be due to experience. This is basically their 3rd playoff series, and there's gonna be some growing pains, right? Like when best case scenario is in 3 to 4 years. If all's well and good in the Nuggets, like they'll be contenders. With Michael Porter Jr. being a superstar, Jokic, and if they keep Murray, we'll see what happens. But that's the best case scenario, and it's just not their time yet right now. Same thing with Dallas, right? When they played against the Clippers, it's just Luka Doncic is great. It's just not their time yet. Like they need more time to grow and get more playoff experience under their belt before they can make a great run, right? So I'm still fairly confident in Clippers in 5, but we'll see. But I just think sometimes like the Clippers, sometimes I think it's a little bit too ISO. Here you go, here you go, here you go. Like, right, that's due to chemistry, but the Doc Rivers needs to be better. But it's pretty easy, Just give it to Kawhi, give it to Paul George, give it to Lou Williams, ISO, they usually make it. So we'll see what happens with the Clippers. With the Heat up 3-zip, and Giannis is dealing with some kind of ankle sprain right now. Now I think this is about it for the Bucks. Like this is as far as they go with Giannis being the guy in the Bucks. I think Giannis leaves. Like for me, like the Bucks sealed their fate when it comes to choosing Bledsoe over Brogdon. Like how come Brogdon is superior to Eric Bledsoe due to the fact that just by their play style, Eric Bledsoe plays more like Giannis, right? Why do you need 2 players playing the same play style if your offense is predicated on just giving Giannis the ball and just going 1v5 and pass it out? And now it's coming to backfire you. Like I've said previously, the Bucks are basically the 2016 Warriors in a way where they're blowing out everyone, right? They're blowing out their opponents, playing super efficient. Their MVPs having one of the greatest offensive seasons ever, right? So eerily similar. Number 1 defense, number 1 offense, I believe. Giannis should have been unanimous MVP just based off his advanced analytics, his minutes, and his stats, and Defensive Player of the Year. Like he should have been, but they would have failed in the playoffs due to the fact that there is no gear to go above what they're doing in the regular season. Like they just face no adversity because of blowing people out. Like the main difference of the 2016 Warriors and the Bucks is that the Warriors were coming off a championship and the Bucks aren't. So the Bucks aren't familiar with the gear turn up compared to the Warriors, but at the same time, the Warriors were like 2 lackadaisical in the playoffs as well, to my liking. Like, they were three down to 1, and that's when they came to pick it up to barely squeak by OKC team. So, right now they're going against the Heat, and they're facing adversity right now, right? When they're down 2-0, and you just by judging, there's no gear to kick up right now. They don't really know what to do due to the fact that, Budenholzer's been resting all his players, right? He's been doing the same thing over and over again. And here's how Budenholzer becomes like a very overrated coach in a way where he does not make adjustments whatsoever. Like he believes it's, his way or, the highway. And, he's playing his players with limited minutes. So he's playing, Giannis like what? Like 35 minutes? Like just by watching game 3 where, he took out Giannis and they were up like 10, right? The Bucks crumbled. And then when he put up Giannis in, it was too late. So he wants to try to keep his so-called players fresh, but it doesn't work like that in the playoffs. It's do or die. And Budenholzer should get fired. Like how do you go from, on pace to 70 wins with this team and then get swept in the semis, right? Players, Dwayne Casey got swept and he got fired. Coach of the year. Right? When you underperform, you set expectations for, your team, and, Budenholzer is not the guy that the Bucks are placing their bets on right now. Like even people are putting out like trade theories of having, Chris Paul coming to the Bucks, and that could work. That could work in a sense where, you want to keep Giannis in the Bucks, right? Like, so you would have to put a championship caliber team around him. And, it was my opinion that this Bucks we're never going to make it to the finals. But, the only surprising thing to me is that they're getting bounced out in the semifinals, right? I thought they would get bounced out in the Eastern Conference Finals, where it was down to either the Celtics or, the Raptors again, right? The Raptors have, depending on the outcome of the ranking so far, I didn't really believe in the Heat because the Heat are like overachieving in regards to, the rookies, right? The rookies are continuing to produce. I mean, Kendrick Nunn has disappeared so far. And Tyler Herro has been doing decently, but, Jimmy Butler and Bam and all the veterans have stepped up. And this is where, the veteran presence comes in for the playoffs. I mean, in regards to, the Raptors, like, I don't really believe in the Raptors. I mean, yeah, I think my pick to go to the finals so far is the Celtics. Celtics have all the tools to, beat any team in the East right now, right? I mean, they should have been up 3-0, but Brad Stevens, he overanalyzed the situation when they had to put Taco Fall in. Why didn't he just put Taco Fall in near, Marc Gasol, right? And just have him play man to man, but they didn't. They lost off a last second shot that was a great pass from Kyle Lowry. Like, Pascal Siakam's been choking. Like, he is not the guy. I mean, this should really show everyone that, Kawhi Leonard is the reason why this Raptors team's transformed to what it is so far. And my pick so far for that series is still Celtics in 7. So, we'll see what happens. But, I think Giannis, his time is running out in Milwaukee. Like, just by judging off, like, what they've done so far. And with the rotating ownership always going every 4 years and whatnot, this is going to be a disappointing end. This is just very, very reminiscent to when Dirk Nowitzki won the 2007 MVP and they lost in the first round against the Warriors, like the AFC Warriors. So how disappointing would that be? How ironic is it that people want to say that the East was weak and LeBron deserves the MVP because he plays in the tougher conference? When you think about it, LeBron James was facing the same criticism as Giannis did in his first tenure in Cleveland. Like, it is so ironic that they'll use those same arguments. Like, instead of LeBron James, like, replace LeBron James' name with Kobe Bryant, and in the East, replace Giannis's name with LeBron James, right? Those are literally the same arguments and, you know, counterpoints they were using with Kobe compared to LeBron James right now. And I think it's over, you know. Like, the Bucks, even if they win 1 game, 2 games, I mean, even with that ankle sprain, yeah, it's over. Like, you know, this is not good for the Bucks right now. I mean, I think it might be time to do an all-in chip, because once Giannis leaves, like, they're gonna be left with a big bloated contract of Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, you know, Brook Lopez, like those guys. And now you'll truly see, you know, what kind of team this Bucks is without Giannis. But, you know, they can salvage it right now next season if they're willing to trade, you know, Chris Middleton and Bledsoe for, you know, 1 Chris Paul to do 1 final run, right? That's on the premise that Chris Paul actually stays healthy for the whole year, because it's a huge risk. Chris Paul could get injured, like, easily. Like, you know, it was great that, you know, Chris Paul, you know, he did not get injured whatsoever in the playoffs. He stayed relatively fresh, probably due to, you know, the quarantine. So you need to factor into the quarantine lockdown where they have 3 months off, where he was able to rest his body. And, you know, Budenholzer loves keeping his players fresh and all that for some reason. But, you know, today they're playing, so we'll see what happens, how many minutes they play. But this is do or die right now. But, you know, his job should be on the line. But, you know, we'll see what the Bucks do. But I think, yeah, Giannis is gone. He gone. You know, these days have been pretty hot. You know, California, it's on fire, you would think, right? You know, the team, that place will be on fire right now is, you know, Florida, you know, Miami Vice beating the shit out of the Bucks. But, oh, man, freaking heat wave going on right now. But, you know, still in the lockdown, still doing a whole lot of nothing. But, you know, for everyone listening, I just want to say thank you for listening. Y'all stay safe, and I'll see you later when these playoffs continue. There'll be a whole lot of mad people after today, probably Milwaukee. But, you know, I'll see y'all later. Peace.